Toby.
Howdy. It's Friday. I know you guys haven't seen us in a long time.
But we're back.
He's back.
Nice.
I never went anywhere.
Look, we've had a few weird weeks.
Busy weeks.
Some really busy weeks.
Yep.
I've been away meetings, clients outside of Cubes.
So you've been hustling?
I've been hustling.
Oh,
Is that okay if I've been hustling?
I thought you were on vacation.
No, I was not on vacation.
That's totally
I was
fine.
okay, cool.
Yeah, guys.
Toby was giving
him a break.
Yeah, I was not on vacation.
No, that's good.
I was working hard.
I thought you were.
I wish.
I thought you were going to the Northern Hemisphere for summer holidays.
Oh, soon.
Yeah.
Soon. We all are. It's exciting.
Yes.
We got This Week in Startups this week.
Yep. Well, it's actually almost
This
month.
This month in startups. Last month in
It's
startups.
1st of June today.
But it is. Happy winter.
Yeah.
It was freezing. Yeah. I was riding my bike this morning. It was like I couldn't open my knuckles when I got in.
I just picture we Dumb and Dumber. What's going on?
All right. So we got some cool things recently. You know Mary Mika? Have you heard of her name?
Mary Mika report?
Report.
Yeah.
So she does it every year. She releases like an internet trends report.
Yeah.
And in the Valley, she is like, she's a visionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we looked at her report and kind of see what's been happening in the past year and is it a predictor for the coming year? And I think
I'd love to look at last year's report and see
how that landed up.
Yeah.
Right? She's incredibly successful and she's invested in like all the unicorn companies that we know are famous today. She's been an early investor in. So she is, including the likes of Google, you know, so that was like early 2000s.
I don't know why they call her Bloody Mary.
Oh, all right.
Genius Mary.
So she's a ledge, and so some of her insights I think are really interesting, right? 51% of people around the world, across the globe, have internet. So
That's pretty cool.
So that means that internet adoption is on the downward trend now. Because there's not an increasing number of people.
Oh yeah, right. Because we're over the hump.
We're over the hump. So Mary's contention in on that point was said, hey, like when we no one's going to be really focusing on users because the cost per acquisition of is now just going to be increasing. It can't be decreasing anymore. So what people online have to do is we have to focus on those that are already on the internet.
Yep.
And that directs sales, that directs philanthropic, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I thought that was a pretty cool insight. She showed us that, or at least for Americans, and these are all American statistics, but I think it's pretty relevant in Australia also, we're completely addicted to our screens. Surprise. So last year, when she gave the report, the amount of time that the average adult in the US spent on screens is 5.6 hours, up to 5.9 hours now.
What?
Per day. So that's really crazy. So that's more than most of the working day, right? That's
alarmingly high.
Alarmingly high. And so you think, like, what are people doing on the internet? Really, it's hard to tell. There have been some movements over the past year. You know, time well spent online. So you know, in being active instead of passive, and those kind of things. Do you practice any of those?
You know, I do. For those of you that don't know, I get up at 4:44 a.m., not 4:45. I like the 3/4s.
The 3/4s.
And I actually stopped turning the phone on about 2 months ago now.
When you wake up?
When I wake up. I actually don't turn the phone on until 7 a.m.
Wow.
And from 4:45 until 7 a.m., that's my time.
Nice.
Sim's asleep, the kids are asleep. I'm more often than not in the gym, whether it's running or lifting.
I was going to say, you look a bit more muscular.
It's just a tight top. I actually, so yeah, to answer your question, I found that it's cleared my head.
Mentally, it's really great. And so I think it's an important movement that we embark on. And especially there's been a recent report away from what Mary was presenting that 45% of teens in the US have said that they spend most of their day online. When you talk about most, and a teen has a lot of day.
That's great if they're learning.
So this is their
Sorry,
actually.
let me take it back. it's good if they're learning.
Mm-hmm.
I have concerns about social.
And so they're not learning. Like the three biggest apps, YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify for those teens, Snapchat for those teens. So we definitely know on Instagram and Snap that's not educational time. For sure, maybe on YouTube, but most likely is they're just watching like other people play games,
Or us.
vloggers.
They're watching
Hey!
That's alarming.
Really alarming, right?
Really alarming.
And until you have the statistic like chucked in front of you, you don't know about it.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know how we can better use this statistic to fuel startup business, but I think it's interesting to keep your mind on when people are conducting their everyday activities.
Yeah.
Very interesting. The other point that Mary made, which I thought was really interesting, is that the future of work is changing, and we know that. We know that things are changing. We know that we have bots, we have AI, we have all these really cool technology coming in. Co-working spaces.
It's a big deal because I'm talking with a very large university at the moment about incorporating a Creative Cubes on multiple campuses.
Yeah.
And while they'll be fully fledged businesses, the goal from the university's standpoint is future of work.
Yeah. And it makes a difference.
Their workforce.
And so, like, interestingly, they've seen, since 2014 in the US, they've seen almost a 9% increase in freelancers, but the job market has only increased by 2.5% in that time.
So glad you're touching on this, and for those of you that don't know, I don't get to see this information until Josh presents it to me at the same time he presents it to you. Read an interesting statistic the other day. In Australia, by 2022, the largest category or largest sector is going to be freelance.
And it's not surprising.
And if you've heard the news this week about some of the big banks laying off a ton of people, like they're showing to trend.
Yeah, and it makes sense because we can get the services as working in a startup. We can get the services we need by engaging people externally for those specific projects. I don't need someone anymore full time to do that. And like maybe you spend more money, maybe you save money, but it's more efficient at the end of the day.
So, I look at sort of like what Google and WordPress and Square and all of these like tools that one uses, like G Suite, Google G Suite, and the $8 a month to set up your whole professional identity, $50 a month to host your website on GoDaddy or on WordPress, or WP Engine. You can look like a fully fledged, for $700 a month, you can come get a fully dedicated workstation, or for a couple more dollars, you get a private office. Mate, the way we're living today, there's never been a greater time to say fuck you to the big job and go out and do it for yourself.
And I think interestingly, Mary highlighted that more people are taking on self-learning now. So they're using like Coursera, Udemy, YouTube, and growth in those areas in the education sector, specifically for adults who want to upskill themselves, who want to get better, do different things, and that's not to say that they're going to be educating themselves at a faster rate than AI is going to replace them, but it's showing a want and a need to come to work in this kind of way.
I totally see it, man.
You're working with it every day. You're meeting people constantly. You're talking about it.
Yeah. I'm also ground zero. Some of these universities are coming to us now and saying, we've got to adapt to the way in which these types of environments are. And I'm hearing it from all corridors.
Yeah.
For a young person, opportunities out there are phenomenal. This is really exciting stuff. As scary as it is when we see our kids, not my kids.
But it's an adaptation, right? People moved away from farm to retail at one stage.
Yeah.
Now they move away from retail to freelance.
Yeah.
And so it's a progress. Freelance is growing at 3 times the rate of the rest of the job market.
Yep.
And that's just something that we have to learn to cope with, and that's cool.
Love it. I'm excited. You should be excited too.
Exciting times. So,
what else?
We got this week Amazon had a bit of a bungle.
I think
the Alexa had a bit of a bungle.
I'm not surprised, but we're hearing more about Jeff than we are about Elon. What's going on?
I actually read a weird article this week that pretty much compared Elon and his maniacal ways to Trump.
Oh.
And that was like very full on. I don't know, you know, what kind of weight you placed all these articles that you read. I didn't place
I put 0 on it.
Yeah.
Trump's about to go to jail. Elon's about to go to the moon. Very different worlds.
Prisoner of two different areas,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
You go to space, you're not coming back, you go to jail,
Well,
sorry.
that may be true as well.
But so the Alexa had a bit of a bungle this week where it recorded someone's conversation and sent it to someone in their contact list without them asking it to. In the US, and they called up and the engineering team was like, yeah, that's a big problem. We saw that it's done that on your logs. Sorry.
That's it?
That's scary, right?
Mate, you should get Amazon Prime for life.
For life. So does that, like, you know, voice recognition tech, Mary showed that it's actually on a massive upward trend. She said 2017 was the year of voice recognition. She showed this graphic, kind of goes like this.
Yeah. Except Siri, she doesn't fucking understand me.
Siri is...
But you know, I think we talked about this, and we talked about this historically on This Week in Startups. This shit's very scary, man.
Yeah.
Very, very, very scary.
It makes me nervous about security more than anything, you know?
Totally.
If I'm going to have this thing collecting my data and listening, I at the very least, want to know that it's secure and not sending my conversations to random people.
Yep. Last one. What's up?
Last one. Bezos wants to go to the moon.
Say hi to Elon when you get there, Jeff.
So he has dreams of colonizing the moon.
Yeah.
Doing like all kinds of tests on it. He sees this like, I don't know Bezos to be like a philanthropic visionary, but maybe he is. Maybe he's turning into that after earning billions. And that's
I think
just the
once
way it
you've
goes.
got north of $100 billion in your bank account,
you don't really care that much anymore.
I think you've got to start looking at giving back somewhat.
And so his dream is that all the tech companies will go into space, colonize the moon, work together to test, mine, help Earth. And he says it's a natural evolution that when we go out of this space, we'll move to the next.
It's so far-fetched, but it's possible.
It's possible, right? So, Jeff, if you're going to the moon, take Toby with you. He's ready.
Hey, how am I going to serve you every day when you're here?
No worries. We got video calls.
Oh yeah, FaceTime. I'll FaceTime you from the moon.
FaceTiming, yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. See ya. That was a pretty good vlog, right? If you go to creativecubes.co/vlog, you're going to see hundreds, if not thousands more.